Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching AskBQ on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Hi Navneet. I must tell you, Navneet is in holiday mood. She's getting ready for the midweek market holiday. But in case you have questions before that holiday, you can send them to us on any one of our social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp. You can also call us on 022454044141, or you can mail us on AskBQ@BloombergQuint.com.
Well, isn't it time to be in holiday mood? Tomorrow also marks the beginning of the festive season in India.
It does.
Tomorrow is the Dussehra. So greetings to all our viewers. All right. But before that holiday, we have to address the markets as well. So let's tell you what's happening with the markets right now. In fact, it's turning out to be a lackluster trading session. Remember, last week was not so good for our markets. In fact, last week we also snapped the 3-week gaining streak. So Nifty right now, though it's off the opening levels, it's trading above the mark of 11,200, but it's still trading below its 200-day moving average, though it's managed to, find some support around the 50-day moving average, which we were watching on the downside, which happens to be somewhere about 11,090 thereabouts. Sensex up about 154 points, and the reason these meager gains, also a recovery that you're seeing on these indices, is primarily because of heavyweights like HDFC Bank. So pull up Nifty Bank first, which is outperforming. That's sitting with gains of about closer to 1.3%. It's also above the mark of 28,000 right now. Pull up the Nifty contributors list and you'll understand why I'm talking about HDFC Bank, because that's contributing about 20 points to the gains that you're seeing. Had it not been for HDFC Bank today, probably we would have been just about flattish on the index, but plus support coming in from other private banking stocks like ICICI Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank. BPCL is seeing some profit booking after the recent rally. It's cooled off from its 52-week high levels. ITC, L&T, a couple of other heavyweights which are not doing that well. Remember, HDFC Bank has also come out with its September quarterly update, where the initial trends, according to Morgan Stanley, are looking better than what was expected. Loan growth of 8% sequentially is way above that we saw in the first quarter. What else is in focus? The auto packs. So Nifty Auto Index is down, and the reason basically is stocks like Ashok Leyland and Bosch have seen some bit of selling today. Nifty Auto Index is down 0.3%. No production days have been observed in both these companies as per the exchange release. Ashok Leyland is down about 6%. Other losers are a couple of your pharma stocks like Aurobindo Pharma and as well as Glenmark, which is down 9% now. It's at its 52-week low after receiving a warning letter from US FDA for its Buddy unit, which contributes about 7% towards its US revenues. And Container Corp, of course, is the other one which is in focus after DGFT has disallowed claim of 861 crore out of 1,044 SEIS claims which the company was waiting for. And I also want to highlight Piramal Enterprises, some interesting data point coming by, because this particular stock has been witnessing relentless selling pressure. It's touched its 52-week low. It's down about 19% in last 6 sessions. Just checking the futures data as well. The open interest has surged about 44% since the start of October series. That's telling you traders are betting on the short side for Piramal, which happens to be witnessing selling pressure even in today's session. So watch out for that one. But on that note, also a couple of gainers. Cummins Industries, stocks like Venky's and as well as Prestige Estates, all these 3 stocks are witnessing strong gains. Alex.
All right, let's get our 2 experts in for the day. We've got Gaurang Shah of GHS Financial Services and Jignesh Mehta of kiranjadhav.com. Both of them are here to answer all of your queries. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Just a couple of hours away from Dussehra, and I wish both of you compliments of the season. I want to take the technical views that Jignesh has sent to us first, before we go to Gaurang for a quick check of how he sees the markets. Jignesh has 2 picks for you. He has a buy call on Kotak Mahindra Bank. The target on this trade is 1,625, and the stop loss should be maintained at 1,562 is what Jignesh says. The second one is a buy call on Bajaj Holdings. The target here is 3,660 and the stop loss is 3,550. Gains of just about 0.2%. We'll come back to a few more short-term queries, but before we do, Gaurang, good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining in. Wanted to get your view. Navneet pointed to a bit of sideways movement when she talked about the trade setup. How are we looking, and are you positive going into the new quarter of the year?
Thanks, Alex, and good afternoon to all of you all, and compliments for the upcoming Vijay Dashmi, and greetings to entire BloombergQuint team and all the viewers and listeners of BloombergQuint from my company, our company, Geojit Financial Services, and myself. So I think on the trade setup, Alex, I think we are in a range, and that range is largely, close to about 500 odd points, 600 odd points on the Sensex, 150, 200 points on the Nifty. We would possibly trade in this range till that time. Earnings will be a driving factor, but our sense, Alex, is that you need to be more sector specific, and within those sectors you need to identify stocks which come out with the second quarter earnings and trade from a short to medium term point of view in case if you are a trader, compulsive trader. But if you are an investor, then I think there are plenty of opportunities, and fallback of earnings, I think all your investment should be channelized towards long-term investment. And don't try to catch the falling knife in form of some of these stocks which have corrected quite sharply, because there is all possibility that they can correct further, but stick to quality and buy quality.
Okay, that's the wise advice from Gaurang. Stick to quality, and remember that's worked so far, even if you look at the historical data. On that note, let's get going and start addressing our viewer queries. Utkarsh Arora on YouTube writes to us, and he wants to know if profits should be booked in something like Escorts. Remember, the stock moved from levels of about closer to 600, from around lower levels, actually, now from 500 to now trading around the levels of 600. Jignesh, if I could come to you, if somebody would have entered at lower levels, do you think this is the right time for somebody to book profits into Escorts, or do you expect higher levels on the stock?
I think if it is a short-term query, if viewer is looking for 1 month from now, I think the current levels are good to book profits. But if viewer wants to hold beyond 1 month, and if his horizon is more than 6 months or so, I think the current up move is very prominent. I guess 560 with a stop loss of 565, one can hold this position with the target of 675 in coming time. So I think for the longer term, a viewer can look to hold. For shorter term, I think this is the time he can go ahead and book profit.
All right, one of the stocks in the banking space that has been doing well today, perhaps it's gotten a bit of a breather, is Yes Bank. And that's on the back of some buzz about possible fundraising. The stock is up about 9%. But Gaurang, the amount of ground that this particular counter has lost, and to your point, by quality, Joseph Kale wants to know what the future is, and if you're tracking the fundamentals, obviously you can perhaps throw some light on this. So would you say that it's a good opportunity to buy, or would you stay very clear?
Alex, I missed out on the name. Can you just repeat the name again?
We're talking about Yes Bank, which as our viewers will know, was at 400 not too long back, and has now plumbed lows. It is up about 9% as of now at about 40 or so.
So Alex, the only thing that has happened on the positive side, if I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong, is the earlier promoter selling the stake, and that has possibly taken the worst out of the news flow. But for the stock price to remain afloat and move upwards, one thing that is very necessary, that is support of earnings, and that I think is going to be at least 3 to 4 quarters away from where we are. So in the sense, you will forget about recovery this financial year. Possibly the next financial year, first half, you might see some significant numbers improvement, and then thereby the stock price getting moved. So if you not bought Yes Bank, and if you wanting to buy something in the private sector bank, then I think close to Yes Bank, if you're looking at double digit, unfortunately I'm not a great believer of that double digit, single digit, bottom fishing. But there is one stock that has corrected, Federal Bank. I think it's below 100 rupees. That's one stock that you should buy. DCB Bank Limited, Development Credit Bank, earlier known as. That's also one of the great investment ideas. With problem with Yes Bank is that there is, a lot of over ownership, Alex, and all upsides would be met with selling pressure, at least in the short to medium term.
All right, point well taken, Gaurang, considering there are a lot of shorts sitting in the system with regard to this counter. And as he rightly mentioned, the overhang of about promoter shares which were pledged getting sold. That's out of the window now, as Rana Kapoor's stake now stands sub 1%. Let's move on and take some more stocks which have seen some bit of momentum in the recent past, and one of them is BPCL. Remember, the stock's been outperforming since the month of September, reason being reports of privatization which came across, I think, on September 13th, and since then the stock's rallied about nearly 25 to between 30%. So today is the day when actually there is some profit booking which is kicked in. The stock's down 5%. Jignesh, it did touch its 52-week high, some cool-off seen from those levels. Let's say if somebody had bought around the lower levels right from the month of August when it was somewhere about 300 or thereabouts, should they be looking to book profits right now?
Of course, yes. With the short and short-term, with the current view, I think the way the stock has fallen today, with the gap down and the profit booking that it has shown today, I guess currently it makes complete sense to go ahead and book profit at current levels, because I'm sure with whatever price one has bought this stock in last 1 week, he's in profit, and I think booking profit is something that I would advise for a shorter-term traders.
All right, Gaurang, coming to you on Tata Steel, Ram Singh correctly points out that it is down about, or it's lost about half its value from its 52-week high, which was at 610, currently trading about the 330 mark, just about 0.1% lower in trade today. How do you rate the fundamentals, though?
Well, so, we remain positive, Alex, on the metal front. And if I have to list down 3-4 companies, then in order of preference, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, Hindalco and Vedanta. And we all heard about the government spending on infrastructure. So you need two basic commodities, cement and metal, without which you are not going to be, constructing a durable infrastructure. Overhang in terms of China-US trade war still remains a concern. And that's why you've seen the global commodity prices stay at the shallow lower level. But domestic demand coming up and the price correction, if you have a 2.5 year time horizon, I would definitely say that please go ahead and buy all these 4 names, and Tata Steel more so.
Gaurang, I'm just going to add another Tata Group company, and that's Tata Motors. We've addressed Tata Steel. Shankar Mahadev wants to know, can this be bought fundamentally now, considering the stock's corrected 80% from all-time high levels? And this is a stock, every time we talk about it, there were some signs of recovery. I remember early this year when the stock had actually crossed the level of 200, it was trading somewhere about 230 to 240. But once again, the selling pressure continues. Domestic market is seeing slowdown, and of course, UK operations also not doing well because of the slowdown we've seen in China. What do you do with Tata Motors?
Well, so Navneet, we do have coverage on Tata Motors, and unfortunately, let me say this, an absolutely clear words and no, beating around the bush. First of all, you have a sector which is underperforming for a very long time, that is auto. Now you can take a 2-wheeler, 4-wheeler, commercial vehicle, tractor, agri equipments, etc., etc. And within this underperforming sector, you have either bought or you are willing to buy a stock, that is Tata Motors, which is the worst performer. Recovery, is there any? Yes, it is. Time horizon, maybe 2.5 years, given the kind of headwinds that the auto sector is facing, and more so as an individual level, Tata Motors. So you have JLR contribution at a slower level, but I think things are going to pick up. And more importantly, I think the domestic business in form of Tata Motors is doing well. And more importantly, I feel, Navneet, that the commercial vehicle business is now going to see better days, because various state governments and the central government has got an in-principle approval to go ahead and purchase vehicles which was up until now under the ban. And as our Honorable Finance Minister has spoken about, that she has in fact lifted the ban on purchase. And state-wise, intercity, inter-regional, the number of buses that each state requires is anywhere between 5,000, 6,000 going up to 15,000. So you will see better days, but it will take a lot of time.
Okay, let's take, so I mean, if you're not using your name as your handle, a small request, please can you tell us your name? Twinkle Star is the name of the handle. Bought ICICI Bank at 445, looking for a view in the next few weeks. The stock is currently trading a little lower at 422. Jignesh, coming to you on this one on the charts, where do you see it going?
I think 412 is a horizontal line from where stock has taken resistance in recent past, and now it is taking support from there onwards. I think today the way 412 is survived, this is the stock to be hold for next 2 to 3 weeks. I think stock can go to 460 some levels. Stop loss should be strictly capped at 410 level.
Okay, that's about ICICI Bank. Let's take some more queries. I think the next one is an RBL Bank. Vipul Maheshwari has written to us on YouTube. Thanks, Vipul, for writing in your query. He's bought 1,000 shares of the bank at 700 rupees and he's added 25% of quantity at dips of 10%. And he's suggesting he's lost 50% of the capital. What he wants to know, what should he be doing with this position? Should he stay put here or not? Gordon, I'm going to come to you. I know you've given your preference when it comes to private banking space, Federal Bank as well as a DCB Bank, but there was some panic selling seen last week on Monday and Tuesday, rumors about how their exposure to Indiabulls Group. Of course, management came out and highlighted the exposure is tiny, but if one were to go by the commentary post the Q1 numbers, they categorically said that the credit cost could go up, and we will wait out for the numbers and see how they pan out. But you know, shareholders of this bank at about 600, 700 rupees, what would the advice be considering they've lost 50% of the capital?
So Navneet, if I remember, the IPO floor was, correct me if I'm wrong again, Navneet, I think between somewhere around 250 or thereabouts, 260 or thereabouts. From those levels, the bank outperformed post-listing, and it was one of the best performing stocks during that time as a listing gains over medium to long term. Rightly so, this gentleman has bought in at 700, which I believe was the peak 52-week high. And post that, he has added 25% at 10% correction, and still he's 50% off. I would disagree with that, because if he's averaged 25% at 10% correction, then he should possibly be a little bit lower than what he's saying of a 50% correction. Having said that, we remain positive on the stock, and remains to be seen in second quarter how the numbers are going to unfold. There were a lot of rumors also in the market with the late promoter of Cafe Coffee Day. Then we had some rumors of some, high individuals at the bank management selling the shares, etc. I don't want to go into those details because I don't have any clarification on that. But on the earnings, we remain positive. I would request him, if he's averaged 25% at 10% correction, I think he should average at least 30-40% at a 50% correction and try to bring down the cost. We are maintaining a level of target, if you will, of 485 to 490 on RBL Bank. So you need to average.
All right, that's a view on RBL Bank. Let's get JK Paper up on the screen and see what it's currently trading. I believe it's around 118 or thereabouts. It saw a bit of a spike a little while back and it has corrected sharply since that 150 level was hit. Just want to go across to Jignesh on the charts. Satya wants to know what the one-year view is on the technicals. How does it look?
Yeah, on the charts, the stock has already formed a bottom at around 100 some levels, and from there it showed a sharp rally. Now a cool off. I think the level of 100, 105 should be held. So viewer can go ahead and look to hold this stock as long as it survives 105, 100 some levels. Currently, stock is trading at 118. So I think risk towards downside is high because with holding such a stock, I think risk is going to be definitely high. But the target on the upside is also very high because the downtrending channel that the stock is forming is presently located at 140 on the upside. So 140 is the target for this counter. So viewer can hold for 6 months or so.
Okay, that's the view on JK Paper. Remember, we were addressing pharma stocks in the trade setup. Pull up Aurobindo Pharma. It's now down almost 11% in trade. So there's some sharp selling pressure which has come in. It's almost at the lowest point of the day. And I believe the stock's been trading lower because of some observations they've received from a US FDA. We've also got a query from one of our viewers who's asking, can this stock now be, it's come from Srinivas Rao. He wants to know if he can buy the stock at current levels for the next 3 months in a staggered manner. Jignesh, I'll come to you. What are the charts indicating after 11% fall that we've seen? Do you think this has bottomed out or there is room for more correction? If somebody wants to trade here for the next 3 months, is this the right level to enter?
I don't think it is the right level to enter because currently stock is trading below the low of 2017 and 18. Remember, when stock is trading below the low of 2-3 years, I think it has a serious concern on it. The chart is very weak for now. I think stock should be at least held above 520 levels for at least today. If it does not hold above 520, I think stock is going to go weak. Currently, there is no suggestion for the stock to be hold or go ahead and buy.
All right. Well, it's time for the rapid fire segment, and a few of our viewers are asking whether we can take their query as a Dussehra gift. Most certainly, we'll try and do that. Voice of the Lamb wants to know about IDFC First Bank. He's got holding at an average price of 42. He's got a very long-term time frame, Gaurang, and he's bought based on his confidence in the management. Should he hold on?
First of all, the acquisition price is higher. His confidence, I hope I could support that, and also, but having confidence on the management should translate into earning visibility. So unless and until the earnings improve, you need to be careful.
All right, Jignesh, this one's for you. Mani Gandhan on Facebook wants to know on Z, can that be bought at current levels?
Sorry, what was the stock?
Z Enterprises, can that be bought at current levels?
No, it should not be bought because it has broken a 280 level. It was a very important one for the stock.
Okay, is Radico Khaitan a good stock to buy for the next 2 years, Gaurang? What's your view?
Well, unfortunately, Alex, we don't cover any of the stocks in the high spirit segment, so I won't be able to comment.
What about GNA Axles? You've already spoken about the auto space. What about Auto Anks?
So GNA Axles, Endurance Technology, Mahindra CI Automotive, Bosch, Minda Industries, these are some of the stocks that we are even positive on.
Gaurang, would you advise investing into these MNC pharma companies like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, P&G Health?
Well, they are always a great bet, and given the history of performance, I don't think you'll go wrong, Navneet. The only problem is they are not liquid, and there is always this news flow of parent delisting the Indian counterpart and unlocking value. But yeah, it's a great investment idea.
Gaurang, what about GNFC? Somebody who's bought at more or less the current market price and looking for a long-term view?
Well, again, these fertilizer, urea and railway stocks always hog the limelight during budget, and then they go into hibernation. I think there are better sectors to look at.
Jignesh, IndusInd Bank bought at 1330. What's the technical view here? What should be the target and stop loss?
IndusInd Bank is a weak stock. I think one can go ahead and short it with the stop loss of 1280 on upside and target of 1200 downside.
With a change in ownership of Arnam, would you say, Gaurang, that it's a good buying opportunity?
Which one? Sorry, Alex.
Reliance Nippon Asset Management.
Well, wait for the things to improve. If you are betting on life insurance, then HDFC Life, ICICI Prudential, and SBI Life are still better bets.
Okay.
All right, the next one is ICICI Bank. Twinkle, we've done that. All right, DCB Bank, of course, Gaurang has already said he likes that bank, so I'll take it to Jignesh. Jignesh, at 220, what's the technical view on DCB Bank?
For DCB Bank, stop loss should be 170, which was a low of yesterday. Target should be 189 in 1 or 2 weeks.
All right. Very quickly, so this is a Dussehra present to our viewers. Care ratings, Vibha wants to know. Gaurang, would you say it's a buy?
Yeah, I think it is because these are the companies that give a service for paper that hits the market, both equity as well as debt, and there is hardly any reason to worry about.
All right. Thanks so much, Gaurang and Jignesh. Wish you both a very happy Dussehra from all of us here at BloombergQuint, and indeed to all of you who are watching at home and on the go. Thanks so much for tuning in and happy Dussehra.
Yeah, please come back on Wednesday to watch our show, and also remember, we're just a tweet, post or a call away. So please keep your queries coming, and we promise to address most of them through our shows. For all previous episodes, you can visit our YouTube channel or our website, BloombergQuint.com. Stay tuned to BloombergQuint for more news and updates.